Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady, thank you for tuning in to Kinetic Aesthetic. I am your host, Jerm, and I am the hostess with the mostest. This is another episode of Kinetic Aesthetic, and today is media review, whatever day of the week it is. Today I wanted to talk about Young Thug's new album, UY SCUTI, however the hell you pronounce it. This is the first album we've had from this nigga in years. I think the last actual Thug album, original content pretty much, was Punk back in 2022. Since then, we have had a lot of shit going on. We have had this man go to jail for RICO. We've had him been sitting in there going through shit. We've seen the whole court trial process, which was insane. We've had Gunna and all his other crewmates in there just pretty much doing what they did. A lot of motherfuckers was taking pleas and talking. And it's just been a lot of drama and hecticness ever since. But this was the first time that we were going to be able to hear from Thug, hear some original content. Business is Business did come out while he was in prison, but that was more of a unreleased songs that they just took and finished, added some verses to. That was not original Thug content. So this was the first one that we've really gotten. And we couldn't have it just with the music. We couldn't just have a very normal rollout. We had to have a lot of shit that happened leading up to it. Whether it was him getting out and immediately pretty much just starting to have a beef with Gunna over Gunna taking an Alfred plea and all the nonsense that went along with that. Whether it was him pretty much having all of these jail calls that he had leaked, where we were able to hear him talk about everybody and anybody in the industry, even going out of his way to talk about niggas who really wasn't even affiliated with him, like Lil Rilla. Still don't get over. I'm not over that. It's just been a lot. So it was going to be interesting to see what Thug was going to come at us with, to see if he was going to be able to just drop something that would make niggas forget. Because one thing you can say about Gunna, for all the bullshit, when he came out with his 2 albums, he let the music speak for itself. So that was the big thing. We wanted to see if Thug could do the same, if he was going to be able to get back to that old Thug, and how he was going to be able to really maneuver and work around being on probation the way he is. Because now he is at a point where he can no longer make YSL reference. He can't make no real gangster talk music. He can't say shit like that. You know, it's interesting. It's like, imagine a gangster rapper and they can't talk gangster. So it's just, that was the whole hurdle that Thug was going to have to jump over, and we get to see if he was able to do it or not. So without further ado, let's have enough of me talking and let's get into it. When it comes to this album, I think the main thing that really just going to catch your attention is that cover, of course. One thing that Young Thug has always done throughout his career is just be provocative. Even when he came up, like when he first coming up with Stoner, one thing I remember about him was he was the nigga that was always doing a whole bunch of extra shit with his Instagram posts, calling niggas bae, my thugger bae, and he was very, very known for just being the type of guy that would just troll and do a whole bunch of shit that would just be provocative, that would get motherfuckers talking, just so that you would pay more attention to him, just so that his music might be like catch the ear of somebody who wouldn't have like just clicked on it before. I mean, considering where he's at now in his career, considering everything that he has been able to influence, the niggas, as many niggas running around that are definitely like sons of his in terms of his influence, it worked. But I think that this was the first time where really just the antics, in a sense, outweighed the music. Because when Thug was coming up, I can't say it enough. Like, yeah, niggas would be doing a whole bunch of weird shit. Niggas was wearing dresses, was doing all of this and that. But when it came time for the music, when it came time for shit to drop, it was fire. It was good. Like fucking Jeffrey, the album, of course, where he was wearing the dress, that is a great album. Like there was a lot of good songs on there. That was one of Thug's best work. And I feel like that is one thing that I can say about this after not this album is out and I've listened to it. That hunger and creativity just isn't there. And I don't know if it is him being more sober, which is, I don't want to clown on no nigga for getting sober and doing what's best for him, even if it was forced on him. But the creativity, the flows, the way that he used to rap, where he would just sound interesting, and they would just be like, nobody raps like Thug. Nobody can do what what Thug does. You're not getting that. This whole album, especially like the first 3 tracks, they're just basic. Like literally the whole thing that I hate about Ninja is that Thug might have rapped a little bit well if you just consider that rapping. You just like go to Thug for just rapping. But me, myself, and excuse the sirens out there, I don't know if y'all can hear that. But me, myself, I was always somebody who Thug made interesting music. He made a type of music and had a type of flows and beats and sounds that you didn't hear the average trap rapper having. And this was the first album from him where I've really just been like, this just sounds mid. This sounds generic. This sounds like something I would expect from a nigga that's not in his position. And again, I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't want to blame that on the nigga getting more sober. I don't want to blame that on him being more clear headed. But it reminds me of what happened to Eminem. I was somebody who thought Eminem's music was pretty solid before he went on that hiatus after, I want to say, 2005. Like once he came back to Relapse, that album was okay, but that was pretty much the start of me noticing he don't sound as hungry. He don't sound as interesting. He don't sound like he's like feeling inspired to make music. And I feel the same way about Thug right now. Like the first three tracks are difficult to get through. Like Ninja is just, the beat just sounds so basic. That's another thing. When he was going with the guitar and with the like different types of sounds on here that were more acoustic and just had some like non-regular trap elements to it, I liked it. Like it's like the shit with fucking Mariah the Scientist. The two songs are, I don't even know if they're still together, by the way, but the two songs he had with her, or the songs that were her, were at least like made me want to sit and listen to the whole thing. Yuck featuring Ken Carson. I don't know Ken Carson. He's a young nigga. I know it's people that's maybe younger than me. I got people that's younger than me that I know that might be able to tell me what I should like listen to check on them for. But that album was not it. I didn't fuck with the verse. I didn't. It wasn't good. It just sounded like a throwaway track off a 2007 trap mixtape by a nigga not named Gucci. And that's not a good thing. And just, it's all that. The song with Cardi B, again, I'm sorry. Some people fuck with Cardi B. I don't. She's not the type of artist that I would even necessarily want to listen to. And I think that she almost did better than Thug on the song, and that's saying something. And that's the other big thing to just talk about. The features, a lot of them just, this is the most by the book trap album. And Thug has always done this to where he's given features to niggas that really just shouldn't have had a feature on an album of his. But even the ones that you expected, like the Future and the Lil Baby, it just sounds like we done heard this shit before. I've heard this Thug and Baby song before, and I'm just not intrigued. I think that this is just like the middle part of the album. I want to say after the third song, like there's a little stretch where it gets sort of decent, where a lot of the songs are just Thug by himself. But especially towards the end, he just goes on a fucking run of songs where he just has other people on them. It just didn't do it for me. I don't know what it is. I just feel like the flows are not as inspired anymore. The beats are not hitting the same for me, and I just feel like Thug just really just he just don't sound the same. I hate to blame it on prison again. I hate to say that somebody was better off in jail, because again, nobody is probably better off in jail. But this nigga just don't got the same hunger no more. He don't got that same drive or energy to really make good music. Like he was doing all of that, all the fucking phone calls in prison that leaked. All they proved to me was that he was not focusing on owning his craft and coming out and giving us a good first day out or anything like that. This was more just like some shit that he just thrown together. Like he just knew he had to come out with an album after he got out of jail, and this was what he decided to drop. And it's not worth it. Like this is, and maybe this would be a lot better if he would have trimmed some fat on the songs. But again, there's just too many. This is an hour of just music that you would just play in the background, and that's putting it at best. There were a couple songs on there that I liked. Normally, when a Thug song comes out, when a Thug album drops, I've never been the type to say that I've just like liked the entire thing or that I saved more than half of it. But this one was embarrassingly low in terms of like the songs I even have saved. I have three of them. I have Revenge featuring 1300 Saint and Lil Got It. That's like the lone song with features on here that I really feel like he just knocked out of the park. Everything else was just, it almost didn't need it. I'm trying to go through here right now to just tell y'all what else. Catch Me, I'm Falling, and Fucking Told You. That's, and then the Walk Down with 21 Savage. I think literally, like, I'll just say this again. I give a lot of praise to 21 Savage on this podcast. I'm gonna do it again. That nigga is solid. Say what you will about him. Make all the English jokes about the nigga being from Britain that you want. When it comes down to somebody that you need to call in for a solid feature, if you want an A+ rapper to be on it, you get Savage. I'm at that point. Savage is a nigga I'm always going to check for to see what he's going to contribute. But other than him, I was good. Money on Money, I'd already heard with Future. That song was not that great. That is, people try to compare that to Otis. It's nothing. It's nowhere near that type of caliber of song. If I have to honestly just give this album a grade, I'm going to probably give it a C-, D+. It was mid. It was just not good. This is boring. And you know what? This was not the type of album that should have even been 20 songs. So I don't know where Thug goes from here. I don't know what you're supposed to do when you are at this point in your career. You've pretty much had all these scandals and you've had all of this bullshit go on. And I feel like this album, he really just made it worse because when you have an album cover where you're just trying to go out in whiteface and you end your first song and you end the first track on your intro by just saying the N-word with the hard ER multiple times, it's just showing me that like you're not even confident in your own music no more. You're not confident enough to just make some good music, come out and do some funny shit, and then just leave it at that. You have to. He's going hard. When you are doing what he's doing with this album and with everything leading up to the release, it's shown that this is a nigga that's panicking. In my opinion, he is recognizing that his spot ain't secure as it was. I feel like he don't know what to do. He done almost lost his girl because of this dumb shit. I don't know. I don't know if this nigga need to be releasing music right now. You need to focus on yourself and get your life in order, because all he did with this album was make it worse. I come into this album, I was excited. I wanted to see what he was going to do. As time went on, I got less and less excited because of all the bullshit around it. And now when we get here, after the delays, after all this, to drop this off, it's like taking the air out of the balloon of anybody that was a fan of this nigga that was excited. I've got friends that are very big Young Thug fans, and talking to them, it's just been like, nah, like the excitement, even the snippets were not good. I got a homie who's a huge Young Thug fan. Shout out Jew Man. This nigga told me after he heard the whoop-de-doo snippet, he was not excited. He didn't want him to drop it. And yes, that song is on the album. And the worst part about that song is that the beat itself is fire. I actually really like the beat. And that's the thing. When he had good beats on the album, he wasted them. That's how I know this nigga's washed. He's wasting beats now. And I think when it comes back and we look at this man's career, I think that the one thing that you're going to end up saying, especially if you don't turn this shit around, I'm not going to say that he's done now. He's not 100% washed. He's like 50%, 75% washed. But if he doesn't manage to turn this around and figure out how to fix shit, then we're just gonna remember him as the nigga who couldn't get out of his own way as another one. Because there's no reason for you to go and sit down, be forced to sit down for the amount of time that he sat down, and all you was doing was bitching on the phone about other people. You weren't writing shit. You weren't actually trying to come up with some new flows or find a way to like keep yourself relevant when you got out. This is a crazy disappointment to call this album a D plus. Crazy. I did not expect that from Thug. I was not gonna say I was expecting the A plus, but you expect more than this. And I feel like I've spent more time talking about all the antics and about everything surrounding the album than the album itself. But I'm going to leave it by just saying this is the difference between him and Gunna. Gunna is a true musician. That's a true nigga who was at least tied to his craft, regardless of what he was doing, regardless of what he was talking about and all the antics he put up with. Gunna was a musician. He was an artist. Thug is just coming across now as a nigga who, as a hype, who just got famous and happened to be the leader of a gang and was able to parlay that. Because I don't even know if he was as popular as we all thought he was. Now that we know that he was buying streams, so it's just rough. This is a rough time to be a Thug fan, to be somebody who had respect for the man's craft. But every run has to end, and this is just looking like this is the end of Young Thugs. But like I said, I have to just give this shit a D minus, C plus at best. It's literally somewhere in that range because it's really not that good. Uninspired beats, uninspired flows. It doesn't sound like even the songs that were acoustic as in some of the ones I liked. It's nothing like what he was doing on Pretty Beautiful Thugger Girls, whatever the name of that album was. So this is just not Thug at his peak. It feels like he is definitely way past his prime, and unfortunately, he's going out sad. But that's all I have to say about that one. I think that we're going to see what happens in the future with Young Thug, but I just hope that he's well taken care of financially and he's able to do good for himself, because it might be time to call it a wraps on the rap career. I'm going to say that now. But this has been Kinetic Aesthetic. I want to say that I hope everybody had a wonderful time listening to this. I hope you're having a wonderful rest of your day. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening to me in on. And I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I'm out.